Hi, my name is Danielle Rocha,
Hi, my name is Rebecca Hernandez.
and this is episode 4, right?
Yes.
Episode 4 of Talk Eternity. So, those of you who are watching, glad to have you back. Any of you guys are new,
Welcome.
great to have you. Yep. We hope you guys enjoy this. So first, before we get started, like, if you guys notice anything about us, like, we got some new,
Sweaters?
sweaters. Oh, this is another topic. We got some new sweaters. I think we should.
It's okay.
Alright, we got some new sweaters with our logo on it, and I think we're super excited
We're
about
super
that.
excited about them.
Right? Eventually, we want to continue to build more. Also, if there's announcements, it's because we're at school, and so the time we're recording at right now, there's like a lot of announcements, so sorry about that, but we're going to try to get this message through, because I also have practice in a little bit. But yeah, we got some new, got a sweater in there.
Got a hoodie and I got a
Hoodie and
sweater,
a sweater.
style, and there's something that we're gonna hopefully be looking at adding later on. Something that we're looking at and trying out for the future. So
Yeah.
we're excited about them today. We wanted to share them with you.
Yeah. So for today's topic, we wanted to talk about putting God first. I think that's something that's like, it's extremely important, right? It's something that I've been learning to do, right? And I think the first thing that I want to like have you guys ask yourself is, what are you doing like throughout your day, right? What are you starting your day with, right? Because I know for me, and I know for many people, it's like when you start your day, right away you go on your phone and like, maybe you can be scrolling, maybe you're looking at email or whatever you're doing, right? But I feel like the first thing we grab is our phone, right? And I think it's like, we're obviously, like, just from the start of our day, we're not putting God first, right? We're putting our phone first, we're putting our, I guess some people say your social life first and not God first. And like, I think that's something that I've learned.
And I think it's
Right.
something that we don't even sometimes do it intentionally, but most people, like, think about it. You probably have your alarm where? On your cell phone, right? Most people nowadays have it, and so your first instinct is to grab it, to snooze it or to stop it, right? Either way to get up. And then it's so easy to just, like she said, go from there. Like whether you're an adult or young or whatever, you might start seeing your notifications, right? And you get distracted. And before you know it, you're scrolling.
Yeah, and you're lost on your phone. And then I think it was something that was big for me, because then I'd feel like so bad, right? And I feel so guilty, because it's like, man, I'm not spending time with God. But then I kept doing it, so it's like, do I really feel bad, right? And then then I realized, like, if I'm spending all this time and I'm like, oh God, like, I want to spend more time with you, but and then I had to come to the realization that, like, first I need to start with my phone. Like, what am I doing on my phone that's taking all that time away from me and God, right? Because I think it's super important, right, to having to put God first, right? And I mean, it's even a commandment, right? It says God should be first. We should have nothing above him, right? So he should be our priority, right? The priority. I think that's something that's extremely important, and we'll actually read that, right? Just so we have the proof of it in Exodus chapter 20, verse 4 through 5. Go to it real quick. You're like, yeah, your phone.
Yeah, we have both, the Bible, and again, remember we've told you about your app. If you want to have the app, you can also have that open, and that way you can read. But we're trying to implement both here.
Alright. Well, it's actually verse 3 through 5. It says, "You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord, your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me." So, I mean, she's very straight up. I think maybe it's not exactly where you idolize a certain person, right? And I don't think I was doing that, but in my case, it doesn't have to be a person. It can be an object, right? Or it can be like a game. And for me, that was my phone, right? I was idolizing that, and that was my priority, right? And I think that's something that many people struggle with, right? Or maybe there's someone that you look up to, like an artist or something like that, and I mean, you prioritize them, right? And all you care about is learning more about them, and all you care about is keeping up to date on what they're doing. And I have no experience with that, because like, I'm not that type of person, but I know that's for many, and for many people that I know as well. So I feel like it's very important to get it out there, right? I feel like we're spending so much time trying to figure out things about a certain person, and it's kind of like you need to figure out so much about God and you're not, right? And I think that's just where a lot of people, they have to come to the understanding, because I had to come to the understanding where in your flesh it feels like a sacrifice, right? It's sacrificing that time, and like instead of me being on my phone, it's okay, I'm gonna sacrifice the time and I'm not gonna spend so much time on it, because when I spend time on it, it's kind of like not forgetting about God, because the thought's still there, like, oh Danielle, you have to get off your phone, but it's, I guess in a way it's rejecting God, right? If you're not putting him first. So,
well, especially because a lot of people, especially like in this day and age, and I think not just for God, but it goes for anything, right? Where we say, well, there's not enough time. I don't have time, right? That's what everybody says these days. Well, I don't have time for the gym, or I don't have time to keep in touch with my family. I don't have time for God. But I mean, in the end of the day, and I say this for a lot of things, right? We need to find time. There is time, right? It's just that we're using that time to do other things. I know I've been guilty before. I'm not one either like you. Like, I don't have those idols where I keep up with people, or like celebrities or things like that. But I have had times where, you know, I go to my phone and it was supposed to be something really quick, and then it turned into way longer than it should have been, right? Or you see something, just, you know, a video or something, and then by the time you know it, you're scrolling.
yeah, I think that's why, like, an important thing, that's something that I have recently done, and I mean, I continue to do it, right? Because I think it's evaluating your life, right? And just, like, going through, like, the hours of your day, right? Because I feel like I'm the kind of person that, like, I have, like, a routine type of thing, and I'm sure many do, right? So you see, like, oh, this is the time that I'm just on my phone, or this is on the time that I'm doing this or that, and it's like, maybe there's things, like, maybe you can find a way to work around it, because there's some things that you need to do, right? Especially for, like, older people, because they have, like, deadlines and stuff like that. But if it's just, like, being on your phone, scrolling through Instagram or something like that, it's like, you can, instead of, you know, using your phone, you can, what's it called, the word where you, like, swap out? You can, like, swap out,
for now,
you know, your phone, like, the time that you're using on your phone to spend that time with God, right? Because, I mean, like, for me, and also, too, it's like, if God isn't first, then it's kind of like, just straight up, like, right? Like, maybe some people are going to be happy, but your life's going to fall apart, right? I think it's just something that's straight up. And it's also, too, it's like, he should be first, right? Because if he is first, then everything else can fall into place. Everything else can fall into order. And I think that's something that a lot of people stress about that, right? Or a lot of people are like, why isn't this going my way? Or why isn't this happening the way I want it to? Or, well, first of all, you know, if you want, I mean, God's ways they're unusual, right? The way he teaches us, the way he builds us up and uses us. I mean, if you look at Joseph's life, you know, in the Bible, it talks about it in Genesis. It's like, first, I mean, he was sold into slavery from his brothers, because his brothers sold him to some other people and then, I mean, after that, like, there's all these things, and it all came because of a dream that he had, right? And in his dream, he was to rule, I mean, over his brothers, right? He was supposed to have a higher place than his brothers, and then, like, but the path he had to take to get there was, like, I mean, maybe, you know, God only gave him the end of it, but, like, the journey through it was, like, different, right? But I think that's just kind of like, for us, it's like, the reason why he was able to get there was because he put God first, right? And he trusted God. And I feel like for so many of us, God has a plan for us, right? But that doesn't mean that the way to get through to that plan is perfect. It doesn't mean it's easy, right? And it's especially harder when you have, you know, the devil just coming against you all of those times, and the people of the world and the things of the world and the flesh and all the lies of the devil, you know. I think it's something that's super hard, but it's like, if you believe, right, and if you trust in God, and if you have him first, right, then, I mean, you can get through those things, right? And his promises, I mean, they'll come to pass.
Plus, too, I think if you think about it, right, like, I know in our everyday life, we don't think about putting God first, or maybe you do. I mean, I don't know, right? Everybody's different, but what I'm trying to say is, like, maybe we don't think about it on the daily, like spending time with him or putting him first. But I challenge you to think about this. Like, if you're sick, if someone's sick in your family, if something's bad's happening to you, what's the first thing we do? Let me pray about it, or can you pray for me, or let me go to God, right? And so just the way your first thought is, let me pray about it, or let me get people to pray for me, or let me do this, that should be your first thought every day, right? That should be our first thought every day. It shouldn't just be out of necessity, something that, like, you know, we do only in those times, right? So it's something to think about. It's also, I think, the commandment, right? We wrote down here.
I have no idea.
Matthew, yes. Matthew 25.
You go to that?
Matthew 25. Sorry, give us a second.
No, but I also think it's like, to add on, it's just kind of like, I mean, you have to go to God first, right? Because it's like, if you're gonna ask for these things, right, and if you're gonna ask for a healing, and you're gonna like, kind of in a way, like, you expect that healing to be done, but I think so many people expect it, and they don't even know God for Him to give it to you. I mean, just like an example, like, say if I just went out to somebody and I didn't know them, they didn't know me, and then I asked for something, why would they give it to me? They don't know me, right? So why would God give us that healing? Why would He answer our prayers if we don't know Him? I mean, He says to those who believe in Him, His children, that ask and it will be given to you, right? But those are for the ones who have Him first. Those are for the ones that truly seek Him. And so, like, after this verse, we're gonna read another little verse.
Sorry, and I was wrong. It's actually Matthew 22. Sorry.
Oh, Matthew 22.
Do you want to read it?
You want to read it?
Well, I just wanted to share, and it's going to kind of touch on something that I talk about later, but it's Matthew 22, starting at verse 36. It says, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" And he said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." Right? And so it says, this is the greatest and first commandment. Right? So that's the first commandment. If you know, I mean, not that we're going to talk about all the commandments right now, right? But there it is first, right? You should love Him with all your heart, all your soul, everything. I mean, He should be first, right?
Yeah.
So you wanted to touch on something?
Yeah, I wanted to read Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. So let me go to that real quick. It says, "But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." And then the next verse says, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." I think that's just, like, kind of right there. I mean, even in, like, my own life, I think there's so many things that I stress about. And, like, even lately, like, knowing that I'm going to start college classes soon, knowing that I joined the soccer team last minute, and now I'm going to have to go to the games, you know, go to the practices, and, like, and then like, a whole bunch of stuff piles up. And it happened yesterday where, yesterday or the day before, I had to feed my pets, right? And that is not hard, right? But just the thought of, oh, that's the task that I have to do. And then I was thinking about college classes that I don't start until next week, but I was thinking about it then. And I was thinking about soccer practice that I don't even have until the next day, right? And then I was just thinking about, like, man, and I still need to read my Bible, and because I want to, right? Because I had planned it, right? And I still want to read my Bible, and I need to take a shower, and I was thinking all of that, and like, all that kind of stuff is just, like, I pile it on together because I feel like if I don't get it done now, then I'm gonna freak out, even though I couldn't get it done now, because how can I go to practice now? How can I do college classes now? And I think it's just like, and it says there, right, don't worry about tomorrow, because, I mean, first of all, it's not promised, and then it's like, just, I think something that I've been trying to learn is just to live, like, day by day, right, one step at a time, and also to not rush things, right, because I feel like when we rush things, we're just too busy, and, like, I guess we kind of, like, lose a focus of, like, considering, like, other things, right, and thinking about God, or even if you're reading your Bible. Like, for me, I didn't want to, like, when I remembered, with, like, oh, I still need to read my Bible, I didn't think of it as, like, oh, I want to rush, right, and I had to, like, remember to, like, nah, I have to, like, go slow about this, because, I mean,
well, because it's not a task. It's it's not a chore. It's something that you want to enjoy doing. You do it because you want to.
Yeah, and then it was just kind of like, if I'm gonna read, like, I don't want to just read and say, oh, I got it done with. No, I want to read so I can actually learn something. Cause, like, what good does it do me, you know? and like what good is it going to do for those I want to influence, right? So I think it's just like to seek him first, right? Because I mean, like I said, like I was having all those thoughts, and then I realized, like, am I seeking God in this moment? Like, am I thinking about him? Am I allowing him to give me peace? Am I allowing him to give me comfort in that? Because like I think I was just like stressing too much for no reason, right? So I think just in anything that we do, we should always seek God, right? In our plans. And something that's important, and I actually wrote down, but it's not here, is to invite him, right, into your daily tasks, right? Like maybe you have an assignment that's due, and that's something like you need to do because then you're gonna fail, right? I mean, I know this, like I say it a lot, like school's not gonna get you to heaven, but like you still have to like get by and do stuff, right? So it's like, I mean, just in that time, right? Maybe you can talk to God, maybe you can pray, maybe you can have a little worship, you know, some music going on. I know I like to do that, right? I just, whenever I have time, or like if I'm doing like a word search or something, because I can't do schoolwork and listen to music at the same time, because then I just can't focus like that. But for me, it's like if I'm doing like a little word search, which I actually did the other day, I think it was yesterday, and then I had music on, right? And then it's just like that's time that, you know, I'm spending with God and seeking God and allowing him, you know, to have part of my life and inviting him into it, you know.
Yeah. I know that right now in this modern world, it's so easy to get distracted. There's so many things, like she said, and not seeking God first. I know that she was stressing about school and her classes, which she does often, but I'm glad that she also refocuses herself really well. And then like adults have other issues going on, right? We worry about our kids. We worry about if they're okay. We worry about schools today. You know, are they safe going to school today? Who are they talking to? Who are their influences? I know I've spoken with other parents who are concerned. Who are my kids talking to, right? What are their influences at school? And myself too, I stress a lot about other things, right? And the other day I have some things coming up for me, and I was talking to somebody else about it, and I'll say, but what if this, and what if that, and what if this happens, and what if that happens? And they were very quick to come back and say, whoa, but wait, where's your faith in God? Like, you need to have faith, and you need to pray, and you need to know that you're going to be okay, and you need to proclaim it too, right? You need to proclaim that you're going to be okay, and put him first, and trust him, trust the issues to him first, so that way you can be okay.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead, were you going to say something?
No, I think it's just like, in that case, it's also just like knowing that at the end of the day, his will be done, right? Because, I mean, some people, they do get that okay news, but some people don't, right? And it doesn't mean God loves them any less. It doesn't mean God is less present. It means his will is being done, right? So I think that's just like trusting in him too, right? And having that trust that, okay, God, whatever's going to happen next, it's your will, right? It's what you have written for me. It's what, you know, it's what you have for my life, right? It's the plan that you have for me, right? And I think it's just something that, I mean, it obviously comes with seeking God, right? In order to have that comfort, right? Because some of us get bad news, or some of us have bad situations, but it's like trusting God and knowing that, right? Like if I'm seeking him, then he'll guide me, right? And
well, I know I heard something the other day too that said, like, we need to pray to him in all things, and we need to go to him in all things, right? And instead of victimizing ourselves, why is this happening to me, whether it's good news or bad news, it's like, okay, what am I going to learn from this, right? Help me to understand what I'm going to learn from this. And it could be your testimony someday, right? It could be a story that you tell. It could be to help somebody else, right? You were saying something earlier about the phone, so I wanted to add about how my son gifted this to me. Can I? Yeah. So, in our day, right, in our world, we're very busy, and I know in the morning we talked about how you grab your phone in the morning, and I thought it was a really cool gift. My son knows that I have been. I like to listen to devotionals, and I like to do things, but I do use my alarm on my phone in the morning. So my phone is by my side, and in the morning I do wake up and I snooze. I'm not gonna lie, maybe one time. But then when I do it, my son got me this gift. It's a pretty cool bracelet, which, by the way, soon hopefully we'll have some for you too. But it's a bracelet, and it's got like a tag in it, and so it's tagged to my phone where I can come in here and I sleep with it. So I come and I press on the tag, and it automatically opens my phone. So that's become a new habit for me. Just, again, a way to kind of start your day with God, right? Yes, I'm snoozing my alarm, but then right away now I've gotten into the habit of hearing or reading a Bible verse.
And I think it's also just like, I think that's something that's so great, because it's like,
We need to
when you
buy
start
you
your day with
siblings
God,
to the
I
front
mean,
of the building.
I think there's so much other things, right? Like before, starting my day with God, and before, really working on my relationship with Him and putting Him first as my priority, I, I would wake up and all these thoughts would come into my mind, and then I would have like such a negative like attitude towards my day, like, oh, okay, everything's gonna go wrong, or all this kind of stuff. So I think like just having Him first, it honestly like it lifts your mood, right? And it gives you like a joy that like, I mean, none of my thoughts have ever given me, but it's just like putting Him first, right? I think it's a great way to start your day, right? Or even just throughout, right? Just knowing that if something's not going your way, you can just include Him, right? Because I think there's been times where like I've been sad and stuff, but then I pray, and like it doesn't mean I don't cry, because sometimes like I do, right? But then it's just like I have that prayer time, and then through that I kind of just feel like, okay, I'm gonna be okay, like it's okay, it's just a little moment. And I even tell God, I'm like, God, I'm crying right now, but I know it's gonna be okay, and I trust in you, and I trust in what you have for me. So I think it's just like knowing that He's there, right? And I think that's why it's like, it's not that we we should feel like we have to put Him first. No, it's like I want to put Him first, because it's like I just feel so much better, right? Because I mean that's what we gain from putting Him first, just the joy of it, I think, is something that not a lot of people experience, but if people did, I think it's just something that's so great.
There's a lot of ways that you can do that. I wrote down a couple of tips just in case, right? I think the bracelet is something really cool that you can look into. Get with Danielle right now. We have some here that you can, if you're interested in purchasing. I think it's something cool, like I said, to start your day, right? You can also listen to podcasts, right? If you have a favorite preacher, or if you listen to somebody. Personally, I have someone that I like to listen to. Should we try to? Does it matter?
I don't think it matters.
Okay, so I like to listen to Joyce Meyer. She has her own app, and she has devotionals, which is also something that I like to do, is look at the devotional during lunchtime. And 12, well, there's a specific time, 12:40. But she also has videos, and I like to listen to her videos so that way I can keep myself in this frame of mind, right? So you can listen to podcasts, you can journal about your faith. I know we talked about it before too. Like you can have a journal, guys. And these days, I mean, I know y'all are young, you're young, but someone that's older, like we didn't have all the technology that's available these days, right? So when I think journal, I literally think pen and pencil, and you can still do that. I still like to do things old school and journal on pencil and paper, something about being able to write out my thoughts. But there's also apps on your phone. There's journaling apps. I think the iPhone, comes with a journaling app. And you can just go in there and type about your day, type about your faith, type about your worries, and give them to God, kind of like in a prayer form, right? You can do that too. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm fine.
Keep your eye out on your social media or any kind of media. What are you watching? What are you listening to? And how is that affecting you? Is that putting God first, right? If we're listening to music that is putting people down, or is doing this or is doing that, is that really putting God first, right? Is that, and it influences us, whether you think about it or not. It influences us. So, a way to kind of keep yourself accountable is to pay attention to what you're listening to, pay attention to listening to and what you're watching, right? I don't know, make a list of gratitude, things that you're grateful for. Remember that, we have so many blessings. I know that's something her and I have talked about before. Sometimes I think we all need a little reminder, and I like to talk about blessings all the time, right? Talk about how just the fact that we woke up today is a blessing, right? Not everybody was fortunate enough to do that, and even then, not everybody's fortunate enough to make it through the day, right? Sometimes somebody can wake up in the morning and something can happen at 10 or 12, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's just kind of reminding you again of all, and like going back to putting Him first, right? Going back, and when you can write down a list of things that you're grateful for or things that are going good, like that reminds you, like, hey, I'm awake because it was His will for me to wake up today, or this happened because it was His will, right? So that helps keep first. Sorry. Just a couple things that I wrote down, and of course the last thing I think too is to look for ways to help, volunteering. Touch on that. How do we volunteer? How can we volunteer or do things like that and put him first?
I think it's just like really in anything, right? For me, it's like whenever we volunteer, what I mainly try to do is just like, I guess for different situations, it's like just show God's love, right? Because I think that's something that's so important, right? It's to love one another, right? That was actually like after.
Yeah, I was gonna go back to
it. It was right after, and it's like, and my like, the loving God first, putting Him first. That's the first commandment, and then right after follows that it's you are to love your neighbor, right? And so I think it's just that's something that when I like volunteer, it's just I try to like, be a light, right? It's just allowing people to see God through me, because I think it's something that's like, if people aren't able to see God through me, then how can I make a difference, right? Because I want them to be able to notice, not in a way like, oh, Danielle's life is also great, right? And to be jealous, no, but to like have a thought of, okay, what is she doing different that I'm not doing, and that's putting God first, right? And that's why, like, in the volunteer events, I just try to like, just giving up the time, right? And like being humble and, not going there for yourself, but I think it's also in a way, like for me, it's like honoring God, right? Because maybe people don't care about what I'm doing. Maybe they don't care about what I'm volunteering for. Maybe they just think I want hours, but I can care less about that. I don't track that stuff.
You don't.
I don't track that stuff. It's just, I do it because, first off, like, God has given me the ability to do so. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can put Him first in that, right? And I can honor Him in that, and I can change lives through that, So I think it's something that's, like, so important, and it's something that I love doing because, when I have, like, certain moments, right? Maybe it's with certain people, I don't just forget about it, right? I go and I pray about it, and I thank God for that, because I just think it's so awesome. And it's like, when putting Him first, He gives you, like, gifts, right? And I think it's like, maybe, like, I know yesterday I was having a bad day, right? And it was about a certain thing. And then I wake up, and then, like you were just talking about, the videos that from Joyce, right? And then the video I watch is, like, of that topic, right? And then I don't know, like, just in that moment, I was like, I knew He was going to give me, I knew it, like, He gave me this because I literally prayed about it, and I had that trust in Him, and I told Him, like, Lord, like, give me your comfort, give me that comfort that I can only receive from you, so when I saw that video, and then when I clicked on it, I was like, man, this is perfect, right? Because, and it's not something that, like, of course, like, the topic, like, I was making sure that I paid attention, but it's just, like, I know this is going to help me, right? Because, like, this video is not just here just because I asked Him for that, and I received that. And that's why, like, putting Him first, like, asking, you'll receive, right? So
here you go. Just to kind of go back, that verse we talked about, it was just, I know she said it, but just because we said it earlier, it was Matthew 22, verse 36 through 40, which when I said earlier about the first commandment, and then the second commandment says, and the second is that you shall love your neighbor as yourself, like she said, right? And that's a huge part, and people look to us. Sometimes you don't even know it. I know that here at our school, people look for her, and I know we've talked about it before, but they've come, right? And they're looking for her specifically, and now she also has the blessing of being able to share her word at events here at our school, and people have seen her. Kids, she talks to kids from grades 4th through 12th, and they come up to her, right? And sometimes you didn't even realize it, but they come up to you and they say, hey, are you going to be giving the message? Or, hey, even kids her age have come to me and said, hey, is she going to be the one delivering the message? Because I want to hear her. I want to talk to her, right? So, that's just kind of going back to, like, volunteering and loving your neighbors yourself, putting God first. She's deciding to share this word, right? And I think that's a blessing in itself. So there's many, many ways that you can put God first. And I know that it's difficult sometimes because we get busy and we get caught up in life, but I think you need to be purposeful. You need to be purposeful, and you need to think about it, right? Start your day. Like I said, start your day off with a verse, with a podcast, with open your Bible, a devotional. There's so many awesome devotional books that you can do. There's just so many ways. And if you need suggestions, she's here. I'm here. If you're here on campus, you know where you can find me. And if not, she's here. We can comment, send a message. Mm-hmm. she'd be more than glad to give you some suggestions.
Yeah.
Got anything else you want to say?
No, I think we're in closing already, especially because I'm kind of super late to soccer practice.
This was very important, and I gotta give her a little shout out, right? Because she does have soccer practice, and we normally stay longer than this, but we're trying to fit everything in. So
we started like right as soon
we
as we
started
could,
as soon as we
so-
could. Everything was setting up towards the end of the day. So you want to just tell them the last couple things? You got something exciting going on this week?
Actually, it's next week.
Next
on the
week.
22nd. On January 22nd, my youth pastor has given me the opportunity to give a little message to some of the other youth there from middle school to high school. And, you know, I think it's just like something that's awesome. So for any of you, like if anybody is watching, you know, and you're from middle school to high school, then I guess like obviously reach out, because I'm not just gonna give the address like out here. But yeah, you can reach out if anything, right? Because I think there's some people that I invited to, you know, and I really hope that they can go, right? It's a moment that it's just like I feel like they'll learn more about me too, you know.
Yep.
And that's why I'm like so excited, right?
And
I
who
hope,
knows? Maybe it's
I
your
hope-
calling.
I hope that they can go, right? Just to be there and see, right, and to listen, right? Because that I think, you know, those are people that I've been trying to have like Bible studies with. So it's just kind of like I want to just continue to get the word out there, spread it, you know, and to reach like those in my school, right? And that's why like I invited them, you know, just so they can be there, because and then also like if I spend so much like days with them, I spend so much time with them, it's just like I care about them, I love them, and I also want them to be able to put God first and understand why it needs to be done, you know.
So we'll give you more details, I guess, next week on that. But just so you can maybe mark your calendar next week on Wednesday, and reach out to her if you're interested. And the last thing that we had is that we have graciously received some tickets to the RGV Vipers games, so that way we can be raffling out here on the podcast. And actually, the Christian radio station here locally, I don't know where you're listening from, so locally where we're at, 104.9, they donated tickets to the podcast, so that way we can have a raffle and just try to get some more engagement from you guys. So we do have some tickets, 2 tickets that we want to raffle off, and we are going to be asking you guys a question, and so you can comment whatever it is. You know, the answer for a chance, we'll enter your name in a raffle if you comment, and you can have a chance to win some tickets. So do you have a question that you want to ask them or leave them with?
I think in order to get the question, you have to like go to one of our socials, like Instagram, because like I know we post our reels through there. So I think I'm gonna ask the question through there, and then like
Keep posting.
comment, you know, win a ticket to a game. Yeah, 2 tickets.
2 tickets. So keep tuned. I knew she was gonna do that. So she's gonna post it on her Instagram on the Instagram for Talk Eternity. If you're not there, Talk_Eternity. Follow it on Instagram, and she'll post a video there, and then comment back. Contact us, and that way you'll have a chance to be in the raffle, so we can have those tickets and give them away. But exciting things. We're really gracious because we're just looking for opportunities to engage with you, and this is just a fun part of it to be able to do that.
Yeah, we want to be a little bit more fun.
But
no, I think that's all that we have today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for those who stayed this long. For those, what are they called? Nah, I forgot. For those loyal. But yeah, that's all that we have today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys for the next episode. Bye.
Bye.